Hi guys, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ezana. I got 3 A stars in my A-levels in 2025 and I just made a video of some tips to help anyone else do the same. So the first tip is organisation is key. A wise woman once said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you know, you know. But basically just make sure that you know what you're doing and when you're doing it. It reduces stress, it saves so much time. Me personally, I use Notion to organize myself, so that kind of like gave me an overview of everything. I had a page for each subject, so biology, chemistry and maths, and then I just kind of put to-do lists in there, deadlines in there, and I found that really useful. In terms of a revision timetable, I use something called a retrospective revision timetable, which basically had every single kind of subtopic within my subject kind of laid out, all like color coded based off how I felt about it, and then I kind of input the date of when I'd revised the subject, and then like color it so I kind of knew how I felt about subject on that day, if that makes any sense, like a red, amber, green system. So yeah, I found that so useful. Obviously, like the format of the timetable was just so adaptable, and I found that that was the best way for me to revise instead of just revising every single subject for a set amount of hours each week. It's good to kind of change along with your feelings about the subject. So my second piece of advice would be active recall. So active recall just means testing yourself. I really don't understand how people can sit and like read textbooks and highlight just so passively. I don't know how you can like actually be confident that you've absorbed the knowledge without implementing active recall. So the best way to do that, in my opinion, is by using Anki, because it also incorporates another technique, which the dog has decided to bark, guys. 1 second. Oh, stop now that I've stopped talking. Hello. But yes, as I was saying, Anki is a really good way to implement active recall, and also past papers are obviously kind of directly testing you in the way that you'd be tested in an exam. So get on those. There is a way to use past papers, and I can talk about that a bit more in another video, because kind of just doing every single past paper doesn't necessarily mean that you've benefited fully from them. My next tip is spaced repetition. So what is spaced repetition? It can be described as reviewing information at gradually increasing intervals over time in order to strengthen your long-term memory. And guys, this is evidence-based. It's a scientifically proven technique. It works. And I'd say the best way to implement this is Anki. I love Anki so much, if you can't tell. Anyone who knows me will know that I am an Anki fiend. And yeah, it's just amazing. Active recall and spaced repetition together. So I highly recommend using Anki. You can implement spaced repetition in other ways, but it kind of takes a bit more brain power. Anki just does it for you. So I'd highly recommend using that, and just making sure that you're reviewing those ideas over time is really important. Okay, so my next tip is to focus on your weaknesses. Identify those weaknesses and sort them out. It can be tempting to fall into the trap of just revising what feels good and what feels safe, but ultimately that's just going to hinder progress. And I'd say the retrospective revision timetable, which I've already mentioned, is a really great way to kind of track those weaknesses and just like identify them in the first place. For me, I was really horrible at NMR in A-level chemistry. It was like, I hated that topic so much. I was really bad at it. So towards the end of my A-level chemistry revision, I kind of just discarded a lot of the other topics which I knew that I could 100% do, and then I would just do loads of NMR questions, and even though I didn't enjoy it at the time, it did pay off and help me get the grade that I wanted. My final tip is balance is essential. A-levels are a marathon, not a sprint. You have to look after yourself. I personally think things like 8-hour long revision days are just counterproductive. They didn't work for me. Burnout is real. Like, just look after yourself. Don't lose yourself to your academics. Indulge in your hobbies, exercise, just like go out with friends, Year 13, even though it was like one of the most stressful school years of my life, it was also one of the most fun school years of my life. I like participated in so many things and like just did so many things that I'd never done before and just had great experiences. So yeah, basically just make sure as much as you're like studying, as much as you're revising, active recalling, spatial repetitioning, also have a time to rewind, go outside, touch some grass, because if you're burnt out by the end of year 13, it's not going to be fun. So just look after yourself throughout the whole process, basically. So yeah, that basically concludes my video about what I think you need to know. Just to summarize, organization is key. Implement active recall. Implement spaced repetition. Focus on your weaknesses and make sure you have balance in your life. If you want me to expound on anything I talked about in this video, just comment down below. I'll be happy to. And if you're doing your A levels, comment down below what you're most excited about, what you're most nervous for. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys whenever I upload